I feel like I've been pretty negative sounding these last couple of videos, so today I wanted to examine my favourite boxer of this generation, Oleksandr Usyk. I'm not sure there's a single boxing fan who doesn't like this guy, or at the very least rates his skill set highly. Usyk really has completed the game of boxing. He's won a gold medal at the Olympics, beaten the likes of Beterbiev in the amateurs, turned pro in the cruiserweight division, and in only 15 fights was crowned undisputed champion in that weight class. Then he moved up to heavyweights and cleared out the giants of the division in record time. This era of heavyweight boxers, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, etc., are what I would call super heavyweights. Giant 6'6" monsters with long ass range and sharp punching power. To compare with the 90s era, Lennox Lewis was the only boxer with such a big reach and size advantage. In the 2010s, these giant fighters were way more prevalent, and some people were convinced that Fury or AJ could beat the likes of Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, just because of their sheer size alone. Well, Usyk waltzed into that heavyweight division as a very undersized fighter for that era and proved that accuracy, boxing IQ, and timing was enough to dethrone these giants. He beat AJ twice, he beat Fury twice, he's set to beat Daniel Dubois twice. I'll never forget the ring walk Usyk did for the first Fury bouts. Usyk looked like a warlord that night, as he finally attained heavyweight supremacy. Then in the rematch, he walked out and the outfit he had on was sick. He fully looked like the new emperor of that division. I know Usyk probably has 2 more fights left and then he's going to set off into the sunset. And he hasn't had the reign that former heavyweight champs have had, but the quality of his performances and opponents have been consistently high. Chaz Witherspoon was pretty much the only tune-up fight he had in the heavyweight division. Then he pretty much aimed straight for AJ. Usyk is no doubt an all-time great, and I credit him for cutting through the nonsense and bullshit politics of the division and forcing fights to happen with the top heavyweight boxers. Of course, I don't think Fury would have taken the Usyk fight without Turkey and Saudi Arabia giving him money he couldn't refuse, but still, it was Usyk who was pushing the fight all along. To be fair, each of the big players in the division at the time deserved their flowers, for different reasons. Fury was the guy initially to set the heavyweight titles free from the Klitschkos and ended their 10-year stranglehold over the division. He made it possible for the likes of AJ to pick him up and start his championship run. Anthony Joshua should be credited for making massive stadium fights in the UK a regular occurrence, selling out Wembley time and time again, and overall, he's been such a great ambassador for the sport. Then Usyk came along at the tail end of this era of heavyweights and ended the division's stagnation. A lot of people said he was too small to compete with these giants, and not only did he prove them wrong, he allowed the division to move on from the likes of AJ and Fury. They weren't making Anthony Joshua vs Tyson Fury, they weren't making that super fight, so Usyk came in through the back door and took all their belts. All 3 of these guys played a huge role in the division and were needed at different times. Anyway, Usyk proved that an undersized heavyweight can beat the giants of the division, and he's the only fighter nowadays who I think can hang with any era. Maybe Tyson Fury, but who knows. Usyk vs Muhammad Ali would be fucking interesting to watch, for example, and all I'm saying is that Usyk could beat him. Not saying he would, but he can hang for sure. Usyk's skill set is fucking elite, and Muhammad Ali notoriously doesn't throw many body shots, just saying. Fucking around aside, boxing fans love to pick apart opinions like this. They claim that it's all recency bias, and guys like Usyk couldn't lace prime Tyson or prime Ali's boots. Yes, I believe there's a lot of recency bias in the sports and among fan sentiments, but on the other hand, I also think that there's cases where newer fighters don't give the love and appreciation they deserve because fans are so attached to the past and nostalgia. I get it, boxing was a completely different sport back in the 70s. I wasn't there, of course, I wasn't born yet, but it was way more culturally prevalent than it is nowadays. Muhammad Ali was the greatest not only because of his brilliant boxing capability, but what he did outside the ring, and in general, that era of fighters was so special and will be impossible to replicate. Heavyweight boxing in the 70s and the 2010s are basically two different sports. Back then, everyone fought everyone. They fought way more regularly per year, and boxers weren't afraid to suffer losses. This is awesome. It's a stark contrast to today's era, and that's exactly why 70s heavyweights were so tough. They were fighting every couple of months, against the best, mind you, so they needed to be. That being said, I think in terms of pure skill and boxing IQ, Oleksandr Usyk can compete head-to-head with the best heavyweights of all time. Stylistically, of course you have fantasy matchups that would be an absolute fucking nightmare for Usyk, but he wouldn't get schooled by any heavyweight boxer either. Now, saying that about a modern-day heavyweight is a testament to how good Usyk is. Just thinking about these head-to-head matchups for a minute, would Usyk be able to overcome Ali's footwork? Would Usyk be able to weather the storm against George Foreman's power? Could Usyk get past Lennox Lewis's long jab and avoid his lethal uppercuts on the inside? Would Usyk struggle with Riddick Bowe's incredible inside work and be able to keep him at bay? I don't know. But Usyk is the only heavyweight in this generation, along with Tyson Fury I'd say, who I can see keeping up with these guys. I'm curious where you guys rank Usyk in the heavyweight GOAT list. I probably place him somewhere around the top 10, the lower half. His heavyweight resume isn't as extensive as other fighters, and his championship reign hasn't been too long at all, but that being said, if you take a look at how quickly he's blown through the division, how he beat a man who's 50 pounds heavier than him, and who's also so skilled in Tyson Fury, and of course how Usyk is the first and only 4-belt undisputed heavyweight champ, then I think it's fair to put him in the top 10. Of course, the talent pool isn't as deep in this era compared to the 70s or 90s heavyweights, but the quality of Usyk's signature wins is quite high for me. Either way, these GOAT conversations and these fantasy head-to-head matchups are just for the fans and aren't meant to be taken too seriously. Again, I'd love to know where you have Usyk among the other top heavyweights, and I'll catch you down the road.